How to overcome your fears and just start. The fear of getting started held me back from starting this YouTube channel for years. It's also held me back from many other things over the course of my life. So in this video, I'm going to show you the tools and tactics I use to overcome that fear and actually start the YouTube channel for one thing amongst many other projects. And hopefully these will help you to finally start what it is that you have always wanted to do. At the end of the video, I'm also going to share a very strange way I use to overcome this fear. It actually involves me in my underwear on Brighton Beach, and I'm going to borrow a little tip from Alex Hormozy as well. If you're new here, my name is Patrick and I'm a serial entrepreneur, marketing expert, and automation enthusiast. On this channel, I give you methods for starting your business, growing your business, and ultimately making money online. I also cover investment topics, financial advice once you've made all that money. So if you're enjoying the videos, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow along. Okay, so broadly speaking, there are two main things that hold us back. One being social anxiety and the other being self-perception. Let's start with social anxiety. So social anxiety stems from this fear of disapproval of others. And what helped me to understand this was to zoom out a bit and look at why do we feel this pressure? Why do we have these concerns about the disapproval from others? And the reason is that going back years and years and years, it comes down to a tribal thing where our standing in the tribe was incredibly important. And if we did something that would mean the tribe disapproved of it, we would get cast aside. And that was bad news all those hundreds of years ago, because if you got kicked out, then chances are you're probably going to get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger or something like that. These days, we don't have that concern. And so it's kind of this old fear that's left over from a time before when it was needed, but these days it's no longer relevant. It doesn't serve us or benefit us in any way. Because of all this, our amygdala is incredibly sensitive to social judgment. But what we need to do is reframe everything into the context of today's society. So how do you overcome this and stop worrying about judgment from others? Well, the very first step is to just address that it's completely normal. We all have this fear. No matter how confident someone may appear, they probably are worried about judgment from others. And if they tell you they're not, they're probably lying. So that's the first step. The second step is then to think, okay, well, is this behavior useful? So is it going to keep me safe? And let's take the example of starting a YouTube channel. So I was worried about what other people would think. And, is that a valid fear that's going to keep me safe? The answer is, of course, no. The worst thing that's going to happen is maybe people watch the odd video and they don't like it, or a few people have a little laugh because in the early days of starting the channel, the lighting was terrible. I wasn't very good at talking to camera. You could probably barely hear me because I didn't have a good microphone, but that's all that's going to happen. And actually what you'll discover is that it's really hard to get people to care about something. So we worry that I'm going to put this YouTube channel out and everybody's going to laugh about me and they'll tell everyone about it, when actually it's the opposite. It's really hard to get people to subscribe, follow along to the content. So it's probably the second thing that's going to happen. The first thing that's going to happen is, or that you think is going to happen, is not at all. And then the final point on this is I worried that people would say, oh, that's rubbish, the very first version of it. But if you go back and look at other creators' channels, when they first started, the content was terrible. It would have had bad lighting. It wouldn't have been filmed well. They wouldn't have been confident talking on camera. It gets better. So go back and look at some of my earliest videos. They're absolutely awful. And then another thing that helps is there's something called the Wayback Machine, where you can actually go and look at websites from when they were very first created. That also just puts into context the importance of getting started and not worrying too much about the first version. I think if you go and look at Twitter on the Wayback Machine, you'll probably get a good laugh. Amazon, some of these huge companies, they all started off with some quite ropey websites. And so the other part of this is the spotlight effect, which I touched on briefly there, but I'll go into it in more detail. And that's the fact that we think when we do something that everybody is going to care about it. Everybody is going to be watching. Everybody is going to see every mistake we make, everything that we do. And in actuality, everybody is just getting on with their own lives. They have their own problems, their own things they're working on. So they're not going to be paying you any attention. They're definitely not going to be analyzing whatever it is that you're creating, whether that's starting a YouTube channel or building a website or whatever it may be. And the other element of it is to just get started. You know, I was hesitant. I put off starting this YouTube channel for years, and now I wish I'd done it sooner. I've had lots of lovely comments. I've had people email me and say, thank you for that brilliant video that you did. It's helped me so much. So you never know what's going to come from it. And the other example is starting my business, Publishing Push. You know, we've helped over 4,000 authors to publish their books, which is an incredible feeling. People email us all the time saying you've helped, you know, my dream come true. So you never know what you're going to build and how much it's going to impact people. So the second main element was, of course, self-perception. We've spoken a lot about social anxiety, and self-perception is what's created by being bad at something. So it's the fear of being bad at things. And for example, with myself, you know, I was very good when it came to playing tennis at a young age or starting a business. Those are two things that I've done very well. So for example, again, going back to the YouTube channel, it was really stepping out of my comfort zone. You know, being on a tennis court is somewhere I felt incredibly comfortable. Running a business is somewhere I feel incredibly comfortable because I've done it for a decade. But when it came to getting on camera and talking to a camera and publishing it on the internet, that was completely outside of my comfort zone. So of course, I was inevitably worried about the judgment that would flow from that. And really what we have to do is, because we are so used to being particularly good at something, we have to lower the bar for ourselves. And that's exactly what I did with this. As I just said, I'm going to film some videos. You know, I'm just going to put the phone on a tripod and I'm going to film. And then I said, okay, I've got that. I'm just going to try and make it a little bit better. So I'm going to make sure that people can at least hear me clearly on the audio. And then I said, okay, I'm going to now make the camera quality that little bit better. I'm going to invest in a course and I'm going to get better at talking to camera. And so I just lowered the bar and just said, all I need to do is publish a video. You know, okay, now all I need to do is just make the sound good on the video. And often what's easy to do is look ahead too far. And I see people do this with business as well. They say, oh, I've got this great idea for a business, but you know, I'm worried about the legals, the marketing, the website, you know, how am I going to do customer services? And they get way too far ahead of themselves when really they just need to find the smallest, simplest element and just start. You know, whether that's emailing their first client or whatever it may be, you just need to bring that bar right down so you can stop being paralyzed and just get started. Okay, so as I promised, the very weird way that I overcame social anxiety. So when I was, you know, very young, maybe 17, 18, I was very, very shy. You know, I wouldn't get up and talk to people. And so I realized this, and I realized it was really holding me back. So I said, okay, how can I just get completely out of my comfort zone and do something that's going to remove that social anxiety, whereby anytime I have to talk to a group of people or do a presentation or meet someone for the first time, that's going to seem like a walk in the park compared to what I've done. So with absolutely no acting or modeling experience, I started just showing up to auditions and then having to audition. So I was so far out of my comfort zone, it was unbelievable. I actually did end up getting a few gigs from this. So one in particular was a photo shoot on Brighton Beach, which is actually where I'm filming today. And I had to strip down to my underwear and pose on the beach where there were people walking around with another person. So that was so far out of my comfort zone. And then it made me realize that anything else I did, so if it was, you know, doing a presentation at university or, you know, talking, pitching in front of clients, for example, when I first started my business, that became a walk in the park. So I would urge you, if you can, to put yourself just so far out of your comfort zone that then the things that used to scare you will seem very easy in comparison. And then finally, I said I borrowed a little tip from Alex Hormozy, and he said that, you know, actually once we die, so it's a morbid tip, but once we die, 6 weeks after we're gone, everybody's going to probably have forgotten about us. Most people, apart from those who are of course very close to us. So with that in mind, we're going to die anyway. Why does it matter what someone thinks? So on that morbid note, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope that you go and get started. Share this with someone who has been saying they're going to start something for ages. Hopefully this will give them the tools they need to go ahead and start the YouTube channel, the business, or whatever it is. Make sure to subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.